Okay. Welcome to Silicon Valley Health Institute and the Smart Life Forum. How many first-time visitors do we have? Fantastic. Welcome. We hope you'll come back again and again. So we're a 501c3, so we're driven by your monthly attendance and membership forms, $10 at the door or $60 a year, which makes it $5. If you have a cell phone, please silence your cell phone. And if you're concerned about EMFs, please turn them off. If you need to take an emergency call, please be considerate and take it outside so we don't interrupt our speakers. The restrooms are down the hall. Take a left, about 100 yards on the right there. You'll see the restrooms. We'll have a break about 8:45, 10 to 9-ish. So you have some time then. So at the beginning, and speaking of EMFs, our president, Susan Downs, did an interview that's airing tomorrow on Voice America that you might like. It's on 5G. And so you go to Voice America, and then you go to Occupy Health. And that starts at 11 o'clock tomorrow, but if you miss it and you really want to hear about it, then you can come back and listen to it whenever you like.
11 a.m., 11 p.m., then podcast. I've got a lot of other things on EMF and all aspects of health on it.
11 a.m. and 11 p.m.
Health issues. Here, I can give you a card.
Yeah, she has other interviews on there as well that you can gain some expertise from. It's voiceamerica.com. What's that? No of. Correct. Voice America, VoiceAmerica.com. And then you'll search for Occupy Health. All right, so at the beginning of our night here, we always open up the floor for questions. Any questions about health that you want to bring up? Hopefully we'll have some experts here that can give you some feedback on that.
Somebody I ran into in my travels had a question on glaucoma. What can you do naturally to help it other than eye drops to maintain it?
That is a good question. I think Steve... Sure. Yeah. So the question is, what about glaucoma? What can you do for it? Are there any approaches other than just kind of the eye drops? Hold on. Another thing, too, is that we're recording the event, so the microphone's really important, so afterwards people can hear the questions. So...
Actually, there's a self-healing school in San Francisco, and they actually just do eye exercise and claim and the benefit to cure that diseases. I joined one of their workshop, 5 days. It's basically transformed how I treat my eyes. So my eye vision actually improved 25% in last year when I did exercise. I just did the basic. So it's worth to check out, School of Self-Healing.
Thank you for the reminder. That's Mayor Schneider. Definitely great information and phenomenal practice there.
I think if you go to the website nutritionfacts.org, Dr. Michael Greger, I think he has some stuff about diet and glaucoma there.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just another comment. I think somebody could say yes or no that glaucoma has a kind of association with diabetes, people with high blood sugar, high blood pressure, those kinds of issues. So it's kind of a secondary problem that if you go resolve those things, your glaucoma will get better.
I don't think it applies in this case. I don't think it applies in this particular individual.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, might not for this particular individual, but I think in general that's likely the case. I mean, you should always try to resolve your diabetes and those issues anyway, right? So.
I don't know specifically what the causes are of it, or at least I don't remember. But in all of the diseases I've studied, the main factors that seem to be beneficial are, and that I found most people are lacking, are sources of omega-3 oil, the essential oil, and selenium. And anything that I recommend, I always toss that in if they don't have it. But oftentimes, a lot of the diseases are caused from the lack of those essential nutrients.
It kind of reminds me of my mentor, Raymond Francis's model, that there's only one disease, cells malfunctioning. All of us are made up of 75 to 100 trillion cells. Either those cells work right or they malfunction. And if they malfunction in a big enough way, then the doctors start calling it heart disease, glaucoma, whatever it is. It's just cells malfunctioning. And deficiency and toxicity are the causes. So if you can find out what the deficiencies are, like omega-3s, vitamin A's for the eyes, etc., and the toxicity issues are, get rid of the toxins, increase the nutrient factors, and over a period of time, the cells should come back to optimum health again. So, all right, any other questions?
I have a question about carbon-60. I've been looking around, and there's a lot of really good hype on it on the web, and a few negative stories on the web, but the negative stories really sound like crazy people, so I can't tell whether there really is something good or bad about carbon-60. It's a form of carbon. If you haven't ever heard of it, it may be worthwhile having a discussion about it sometime, or at least look it up.
And what is it exactly? Hold on.
Carbon-60 is a form of carbon like graphite or diamond, but there's 60 carbon atoms arranged in like a soccer ball with pentagons and hexagons. It's a class of carbon called the fullerene, after Buckminster Fuller and his geodesic dome. And there's some wild claims, and I don't know whether it's good or not. They usually dissolve it in some kind of oil. And the stories are almost like it is really almost too good to be true if you listen to the stories. Like a lady has a 12-year-old dog and gave it some carbon-60 and coconut oil, and the dog was deaf and it was kind of arthritic. And after a couple of weeks or a month or whatever it was, she was opening up a can of dog food, and the dog came in, and wow, this is really fantastic. And then a few weeks later, she noticed the dog is playing with the other animals in the house. But if you're going to do any research, where I started, I heard some guy talking about the rat study. Carbon-60 dissolved, they were doing a lethal LD50 level to find out, because people were using this nanocarbon as ball bearings. It's a really nice molecule to make a miniature ball bearing. It's the shape of a and it fits. It's about the size inside a DNA strand. It's about that order of magnitude, and it doubled the life of the treatment group compared to the control group. The control group is all dead at 2 years, and the treatment group started dying at 4 years. So it had really remarkable effects on the rats. And I don't have any idea of the mechanism. I heard what people say, but I can't say whether it. And my experiment N of 1 is too small to tell anything. Although I had to get all new glasses after I started taking carbon-60. My eyesight was gotten significantly, noticeably better. But then, who knows why? I mean, there's a placebo effect that I can't discount.
And you just take it orally? Is it a liquid or is it a pill?
I have it dissolved in the brain octane, the bulletproof brain octane, which is liquid at room temperature. So it dissolves about a little less than 1 gram in 1 liter. So you're taking a really small amount. And I got a little medicine dropper, and so I take about 15 medicine droppers, so about 15 milliliters maybe a day of this dilute solution. And carbon 60, when it dissolves in oil, it becomes purple. I mean, a really deep, intense purple. That's how you could tell it's dissolving. But, and there's many, many people, it's kind of pricey. It's $100 for 4 ounces on the web, typically.
How long would that last?
Apparently you wash it out in about 10 days or so. If you take some in about 10 or 15 days, you'll excrete it according to the papers I read, but I don't know whether that's, you know, what that is. The bottle, 4 ounces, well, take four ounces, how many milliliters? It's about 120 milliliters or so. So if you take 15 milliliters a day, that's, you know, a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
I have a question about detox. I have a question about detox. Is there a general recommendation for a regular detox or a schedule for that?
I'm not sure there's a regular schedule for it, and there's lots of different detox products on the market. I know Bulletproof has a coconut, or not coconut, charcoal, coconut charcoal, I think it is. That's a really good detox. Did you have something?
A lot of people say saunas are helpful. I mean, Sarah Myhill in England says that, you know, sweating, there's a lot of sweating, you'll get the volatile substances out. She's got another protocol that, you know, I mean, some people do IV chelation. I don't feel good about that. Some people say that they've been very sensitive to the ingredients in the bags, but it's kind of an oral detox that Sarah Myhill recommends in one of her books on, you know, you find oral DMSA, take it once a week, make sure you supplement with minerals the rest of the week, and that will help detox some of the other things. So Sarah Myhill's books, Myhill, describes a very nice pattern for somebody that doesn't want to spend hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars on tests just to start getting your body well. Sarah Myhill, Myhill. And there's a book that came out last year. Most recent one is, the interview's on my radio show, Sarah Myhill, where she discusses it.
So what I recommend is bentonite clay, calcium bentonite clay. So it's like a healing clay. I believe that works very well and it's gentle on your body and doesn't have any side effects. So check that out. It takes a little bit longer, but I did it for 9 months and I had only positive results. Internally, so get a pharmaceutical grade from Amazon, you can order it, or Whole Food Market. Amazon or Whole Food Market.
Toxins, environmental toxins. Yeah, and you know, I'm a big fan of the saunas as well. You know, Raymond, my mentor had chronic fatigue, multiple chemical sensitivities, and that was a huge part of his healing process. You know, over 2 years, and he still does saunas once or twice a week now. I mean, we're deluged in this world. In fact, I'm sure we'll hear a little bit from our speaker here about environmental issues and all of the toxins that we're exposed to breathing in daily, and our bodies don't have an efficient way of getting toxins out of cells. So, you know, saunas, bentonite clay, definitely. You know, there's quite a few detox, you know, formulas out there, and you just have to find the one that works best for you. So, I saw. Hold on.
Yeah, I was wondering if anyone had experience with biofilm disruptors. So I'm on kind of an advanced gut protocol to clean a whole bunch of stuff out, and I had kind of a semi-allergic reaction. I got a whole bunch of hives, but they actually came and went very fast. I was very surprised. It was like 3 hours, had about 20 hives, and then they were gone.
Susan, you have anything on that? Biofilm?
I would check into some of Dr. Klinghart's work. He's pretty good at things like that, but for biofilms, because they're different. We had a lecturer come here, Dr. Ponce, speak on biofilms for a short talk a couple of years ago.
So, yeah, look for that video. Ponce, Dr. Ponce. Okay. All right.
A lot of the information I've been giving is from the work I did at Lockheed in hazardous materials waste treatment. And one of the things I found out that we used for if one of the reaction tanks is starting to produce a lot of bubbles and the bubbles don't pop, we used a product that was a type of silicone, like a silicone oil or something like that. So that breaks down the films, if films are in effect. The carbons, like you can make your own burn toast, and you can get the carbon out of it. Or the Buckminster fullerene, C60, has some ability to absorb or take into its shell certain sizes of species, maybe like fluorine or whatever. So these are all specific. So, and yes, there are a lot of different forms of adsorptive carbons on the market, at least in the chemistry catalogs. So if you knew what it is you wanted to try to remove, you would order something like that to take. Most of the carbons are inert; they don't react with the body. So that's it.
All right, time for our speaker.